Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue with a 13th Black Crusade. Let's get into part 5. If you have not checked out the other ones, please do so. Jump on over to our channel and start from the beginning. This is 40 Facts about the 13th Black Crusade. The Imperium believed Abaddon dare not destroy Cadia, as its pylons were intrinsic to the continual stability of the Cadian Gate, which he needed to move his forces deeper into Imperial space, so that he could launch an assault upon Terra. So the Imperium would make its last stand upon Cadia, and hold that world, no matter the cost. A Cadian pylon is one of a large number of massive pylon-shaped devices of unknown Xenos origin, erected millions of standard years ago in a complex network stretching across the surface of Cadia. These pylons can also be found on a number of other worlds close to the Great Eye of Terror Warp Rift in the Segmentum Obscurus. It is currently believed by the savants of the Imperium of Man and the Eldar craftworlds that the pylons were erected 65 million solar years ago by the Necrons during their ancient war with the Old Ones. They were to serve as a defense against the psychic abilities of the Warp, which are the Necrons' only real vulnerability. The pylons essentially act as an anti-psychic field emitter, restricting the activity of the Immaterium in proximity to them. The tech priests of the Imperium's Adeptus Mechanicus have hypothesized that the pylons on Cadia exert some effect over the Immaterium, rendering it calm and creating the unusual zone of space-temporal stability, known as the Cadian Gate, that enables ships to travel through the only known navigational route in and out of the Eye of Terror. With every world in the sectors Oculus, the sector surrounding the Eye of Terror, now embroiled in a war that has already claimed countless billions of lives, a new and unexpected faction suddenly took a hand in the event. The ever-elusive ships of the Eldar have been sighted by the crews of many Imperial Navy vessels, and by the troopers on the ground across at least a dozen sectors. In the depths of interstellar space, these Xenos warships reportedly intervene in battles between Imperial Navy and the Chaos Invaders, on occasion providing aid to Imperial warships, and allowed them time to escape when overwhelmed, but at other times attacking them without provocation. The Dark Eldar also have been sighted preying on the lesser worlds of the Cadian sector, and they have even taken slaves on the Pharaoh world of Medusa, the homeworld of the Iron Hand chapter. It was even rumored that the legendary Eldar faction referred to by the Ordo Xenos as Harlequins had been sighted on the battlefield of Agrippina and Skelios. The Eldar have also been sighted upon worlds of the Cadian Gate as well. Cadian High Command have long been aware that the Eldar of the Ulthway craft world maintain a strong presence in the vicinity of the Eye of Terror. Though little was known of their ways, it was widely believed that they ultimately worked toward the downfall of the archenemy. Indeed, the Black Guardians of Ulthway have taken a hand in a number of battles, appearing unexpectedly and without any warning on the surface of planets, though distant from the Eldar activity. Upon Bellis Corona, Eldar strike forces have freed Imperial Navy ground crews from the Chaos Legions closing in on them. However, there was also reports from the Cadian system of the Eldar falling upon themselves in fits of madness, from the Agrippina sector of the Eldar attacking the warriors of the Ultramarine Honor Guard Company, and their ghost ships harboring fiendish beasts of the warp. The Ordo Xenos also informed the Cadian High Command of yet another threat from an unexpected quarter, the return of the ancient Xenos known as the Necrons, who have been found to be active in the Sentinel worlds. These soulless machines were suspected to lay dormant in some manner upon the Sentinel worlds for many years, perhaps for millennia, though they have slumbered right underneath the Imperium's noses. Somehow they have awoken, and most likely in reaction to the activities of Abaddon and the forces of chaos. In some manner, the Necrons were known to be the very antithesis of the Warp, stirring into activity by its waxing power. The Necrons' nature compelled them to oppose the Warp in all of its forms. This rivalry could be considered in human terms an utter hatred for chaos. Chaos represented the greatest peril for the Imperium, yet mankind paradoxically relied on the warp for interstellar travel, communication, and much more. The Necrons, however, received no such benefit from the warp. They have no psychers to draw upon the immaterium, while their advanced technology provide them with power over the material universe that rivals the abilities of the strongest psychers. In practical terms, this meant that the Imperium could expect the newly awakened Xenos to oppose the forces of chaos. However, this did not mean that the Imperial forces could or should treat them as allies, even in the loosest sense, for this ancient race was dangerous to humanity. The Necron race was death incarnate to all species, who the Necron lords viewed as primitive interlopers within the rightful territory of their ancient empire. Lord Creed immediately enacted orders for all Imperial forces to stay clear of this Xenos race, and to allow them to engage the forces of chaos whenever and wherever it was their intention to do so. However, the Imperial forces were not under any circumstance to render aid to these Xenos, for to do so would be the ultimate harm to mankind. The Imperium would tolerate the Necrons' presence in Imperial space only so long as they needed them. These ancient undying Xenos might be the enemy of humanity's enemy, but that did not make them the Imperium's friend. With the Imperium committing more and more resources toward the defense of the Cadian Gate, reports from the eastern fringe of the Ultima Segmentum suggested that the Tau Empire was using this time when the Imperium's eyes were elsewhere to strengthen its defense and even enlarge its own domain in what the Tau called the Third Sphere Expansion. Though the Xenos had yet to threaten Imperial worlds at this time and were largely expanding into uncontested wilderness space, Imperial strategos kept one wary eye on the Tau Empire, lest they use their time of conflict and uncertainty to their own advantage. The Imperium's commanders were right to be worried. In the 999th year of the 41st millennium, the Tau initiated a major military campaign to seize Imperial territory in the eastern fringe that would coincide with the 13th Black Crusade and become known as the Zeitz Campaign. To learn more about the Zeitz Campaign, please check out our 40 facts about the Zeitz Campaign. The Orcs appeared to be increasingly active in the Scaris sector. The Ordo Xenos believed that the Greenskins had been building up for an invasion for some time, lurking in the unexplored depths of the wilderness of space, and launching their attacks with a low cunning few would ever expect of such a barbaric creature. The Inquisition warned the Cadian High Command to be alert for reports of alien infiltration in the region near the Subiaco Diablo system, particularly for attacks coming up from below the galactic plane. They would not explain further on what they meant by this, but insisted that the Cadian High Command should inform the Inquisition immediately should any such attack by unknown Xenos materialize. Despite being beset on all sides, the Imperial forces and their commanders remained imbued with a sense of righteous indignation. If every damn creature in the galaxy was now ranged against them, then they were determined to take them all into oblivion with the last cry of the human race. Within the Malin Reach system, a new and even more dire threat had arisen. The Dark Apostle Erebus and his forces from the World-Bearer Traitor Legion were causing great damage to Imperial efforts to defend the region. This enemy was of a particularly insidious nature, as the self-styled prophet of the ruinous power sought to convert the people of the Imperium as much as to slaughter them. Spreading his foul corruption far and wide, he had managed to manipulate the Ultramarines Honor Guard Company into an attack upon the world of Thasia, the fourth planet in the Malin's Reach system. The company hoped to draw Erebus to battle in the dark methane-shrouded groves of the planet's surface, but found that the Dark Apostle had instead drawn them into a trap. The Word-Bearers were far from Thasia by the time the Ultramarines arrived, who instead found a force of the Eldar waiting for them at the site of one of those Xenos planet-bound webway transit portals through the warp. Upon making planetfall, Captain Echion, the leader of the Honor Company, ordered his force to make ready for battle, but not to launch an assault upon the Xenos immediately. He had been advised by the Akkadian High Command that the Eldar had on occasion aided Imperial forces, and though he knew well the duplicity of the Xenos, he nonetheless afforded them the opportunity to retire without the need of bloodshed. Unfortunately, the malicious Xenos were of the mind of war, and launched an unprovoked attack upon Echion's forces. The battle that ensued was a prolonged and vicious one, with running combat being fought through the dark. Death would come by stealth for both sides, and both sustained terrible levels of casualties. In time, Echion's ordered his diminished force to regroup at its drop zone for one last assault upon the foe, but in doing so found the enemy's position abandoned. Upon coming to the Eldar portal, Echion's librarian, Lesrus of the Sons of Gilliman, advised him that the Xenos had fled through their webway, and were working to seal the portal from afar. Echion washed his hands of the Eldar, determined never to give them the benefit of the doubt again, due to the loss of so many brethren. So it transpired that Erebus had not only skillfully maneuvered two of his foes into wasting precious time in futile combat against each other, but had made use of the distraction to launch another attack elsewhere upon the primary world of the Malian's Reach system. The world of Malian's Reach was subjected to hell over a period of 3 days and 3 nights. Warp storms flared into being around the planet, shrouding its 3 moons behind a silk violet haze, quickly followed by awaking nightmares, which racked the population. On the 3rd night, the Wordbearer's landing craft streaked from the tortured sky, securing a drop zone kilometers away from the Ministorum district of the world's capital of Ruskin City. The defenders of Malian's Reach could only offer scant resistance to the traitor Marine's assault, as they were deliberately destroyed by the ordeal of many hours of psychic torture. The word-bearers fell on Ruskin Cathedral, committing such blasphemies that by imperial edict, all loyal servants of the Emperor were forbidden to recount them, except for high-ranking individuals. Through some unknown means, the word-bearers were able to summon forth the creatures of the warp into the ruinous cathedral, before returning into their dropcraft and departing. And those were 40 facts about the 13th Black Crusade. It seems like the weight is tipping more towards the Xeno side. Now it's pretty much the whole world against the Imperium, although it seems. Please comment down below and let me know what other cool topics you guys would like to discuss. We're not done with the 13th Black Crusade by any stretch of the imagination. We still got a lot to go. So please subscribe to the channel so you can get those videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.